क्या करना है तो फिर पीछे चलना
Hello,
क्या
hello all. I welcome all of you to the conference on future of smart campuses, ensuring desktop virtualization, and the conference organized by Elets Technomedia in association with Digital Learning Magazine and supported by Dell Technologies and Windows 10. And today in this session, we had discussions around virtualization and the reforms in this virtual era. And right now, I have a person with me who has been very active virtually in last 1 year, and I think created more awareness, more communication virtually. So a right example of how virtual can work even when the world faces crisis. We have Ms. Mugdha Sinha with us, who is a senior IAS and Secretary of Science and Technology and Art and Culture in Government of Rajasthan. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Karthik. Thank you very much.
Ma'am, it's always an honor to have you here, and for our audience also, we see great surge of audience in your sessions, and I hope that this time also the audience will relish and enjoy your talk. Ma'am, you have been very active virtually. Whether you talk of science and technology departments activities, and now you're in art and culture, you have given a different meaning and different sort of style to art and culture department activities virtually. And we have seen great successful programs by you in last 1 year. How do you see the future of virtualization, and the and right now, when we are talking of education system, what do you see the role of virtualization in this new scenario, ma'am?
Thank you, Karthik, very much for your very, very kind and gracious words. It's always an honor and equal pleasure to be speaking to audiences because I think, from ideation and from dialogue is what we will find the new pathways to how we will visualize and how we will envision the future that lies ahead of us. We are in the last 1 year, as all of us have seen, that we have gone through some very, very unprecedented times, very unpredictable, uncertain times we have seen. And I also find that in the last few days, we are all witnessing different strains. I'm told about 700 plus new varieties, new strains of coronavirus have come about. Governments are increasingly seeing second waves despite the fact that both Rajasthan and Government of India have done exceedingly well as compared to other states and other countries. In the last 1 year, what one learned is one of the biggest examples of crisis management, thinking out of the box, toying with new ideas, getting prepared in a jiffy. So a lot of new thoughts have come about, not just at the individual level, but also at the institutional level. And today, as you ask me this question about how campuses are going to visualize the future, and when you say campuses, I understand we are also talking of educational campuses. We are talking of institutional campuses, which involves government campuses. It includes organizations like Jawahar Kala Kendra, which is a very, very holistically providing a very holistic experience, a campus in itself. We are also talking of experience of people who will be visiting different places, say tourism, for example, because only yesterday we celebrated Rajasthan Divas. We are also talking of people who go to hospitals because this hospital is also an all-inclusive campus today. So experience of the people and keeping people at the center of things is how we will have to envision the new reality. And I really hope, Karthik, that we do not only have to live in a virtual world of how H.G. Wells and sci-fi writers have envisaged it, and also are envisaging for the next 50 years to come, because it looks like a very, very dystopian world if at all those things become true. So I'm hoping we can come back after this virus is over and we are all vaccinated. We can all come back to a pre-COVID time, but it looks difficult. So, as I see it, in times to come, we will have to have a balance between, peer-to-peer learning, between human contact, and edge to edge, let me say, because most of us understand G to G and G to B and B to B and B to C and G to C and so many other variations in the e-commerce world. But let me talk of similar kind of variations which will happen now in the edge to edge, which is human to human is getting replaced by human to machine. And on the parallel side, with the Internet of Things and with so much of technological advancement happening even in the sound systems today with Siri and Alexa, you will find that there is going to be a M to M also happening simultaneously, machine to machine communication. Because even when we switch off our mobiles or laptops, our modems, they are still active and a surveillance is continuously going on. The machines don't stop working, the robots don't stop working. So the virtual world is fully alive even if the human world is sleeping. So I think this kind of an understanding of the differences between the human world and the machine world. So say some 50 years before, we only had two worlds, the natural world and the human world, right? So nature and human beings were trying to find a mutually comfortable fit and coexistence, in habitation, a mutually, a responsible habitation, let me say, is put it that way. So environmentally friendly. But after 1992, when the first Earth Summit happened and I went to college, that was the time that I went to college, so I remember it distinctly. Uh, from then 1992 to now 2021 and maybe 2022, the entire year I feel will also go in COVID management, post COVID management. So I feel now there is a trifurcation of this world. God made only one world, right? He envisioned only one world in which nature and human beings will be together. But then man took over nature, and then there was a distinct segregation between nature and human lives. And now we have a third distinction again created by man, which is the technological world. So the natural world, the human world, and the world of the machines. So we will now have to find a sync between all these three. The more distance we are becoming from nature and no closer to machine, there will be a pressure to come back to our earlier existence where man is more in sync with nature. Because machines, there is an underbelly of technology that we must understand. Technology definitely helps us do a lot of things, but it cannot replace, and it should not replace. I always find that man should remain the master of technology and not become a slave to technology. So man who has created all these technology through his imagination, through his ideation, through his cranial, powers, should know how to use technology for servicing society, for the betterment of society, right? We should not create a Frankenstein monster in terms of technology. So that is how we must envision. So a very Buddhistic kind of a middle path of how much technology to use, where which technology to use, what are the checks and balances in terms of usage of technology. Because we are using technology because of the ease, and we are in a post COVID world where well-being and mental, emotional, physical well-being is important, but overuse of technology can also lead to a dysfunctioning of that well-being, right? So on one hand, while we are looking at healthy well-being, on the other hand, too much of uses of technology can bring us back to a dystopian kind of a world where our well-being goes for a toss. So I think balance will be a key word in uses of technology. And I also find in the governments and in all campuses, we must figure out the niche use of technology. Not every technology will fit every institution. Not every technology will do everything. So we will have to do that matching column A with column B and making a customized matrix of what is required and to what extent it is required. How much invasion do you want in the life of private individuals, in the life of institutions, is what we will have to look at when we are talking of institutions. And that is the job of the policy makers, to understand, anticipate, and lay down the parameters for everybody, by doing a group think, by talking to the stakeholders. So this is what I'd like to say at this point in time.
Right. Ma'am, you actually threw light on the changing mechanism of this, even the whole world, how it's changing and transforming, and how IT is, the role of IT is also changing. And when we talk about the campuses, and when we see that even in the future, we see a hybrid system, we may not have completely everything physical. We may have more virtual activities integrated now. So, what do you see? What components you see to be added in coming years in the campuses, and what sort of changes you see in the future?
No, Karthik, that's a very relevant and a very good question to ask. I spoke about the macro picture of how the world is changing at a very, very philosophical and psychological level. But let's talk of concrete things in campuses, right? So let's begin by segregating it into three. Maybe today the numbers game is skewed in favor of three, a trifurcation of things. So let us look at preparedness of institutions to be able to consume the technology, because please remember, as a note, that technology is going to leapfrog in terms of development, in terms of upgradation and changes, right? And with every upgrade, we as human beings who are consumers of technology will have to simultaneously upgrade, right? And we cannot lag behind, because there definitely will be somebody who will be the early bird harvester, right, in terms of both bringing out the technology and using the technology. So very concrete point I will tell you. First thing, when we talk of usage of any new technology, is infrastructure, the physical infrastructure. Do we have access to Wi-Fi? Do we have access to labs which are equipped with the best of computers, high speed computers? Are those things available with us? Are those things accessible to the users, like in the schools, for example, children? That is one thing. Are those things affordable? Can people afford? Because with equality, we also have to talk of equity. Can the poor people afford a smartphone where all this technology is available? And when that smartphone gets upgraded in a year, can the poor person come back and buy the smartphone again? Right? We also have to talk of, the way we talk of open science, we have to talk of open access, so that more and more people, we can do away with this digital divide and use technology. Also, when we talk of digital divide, the digital divide interacts with a generational divide. So you have young children who, from the very time they are born in an age of technology, where they immediately are able to learn. It's like language which comes to a child just by being exposed to the atmosphere. So is with technology. But look at the geriatric population, right? 60 plus people who have retired from their main working streams, who probably never had that exposure to technology, who never learned in their youth. How do we plan to upgrade their lives in technology? Because everything will become available only through technology. Even your grocery today, because when you are in lockdown, you have to buy everything electronically. You cannot go out to the market. Even your doctor's consultation only now happens through the telemedicine system. So these are things. So we will also have to look at the class divide, the gender divide, and the age divide, right? In terms of both access, availability, and affordability, and in the physical infrastructure side. The other thing in the physical infrastructure that we have to look at is, what is the government providing, right? Because government gives licenses for a whole use of satellite communication. The TRI does auctions for a whole lot of broadcasting of stuff, right? Availability of players in the market, so that there is no monopoly, so the price is managed for people, so affordability part. So governments will have to look at the macro policy making. Companies who provide the physical infrastructure will have to make use of the government, will have to ride pillion on the government, because when the government puts a fiber cable somewhere, optical cable somewhere, or provides that kind of a satellite communication, then the private players can commercialize and provide the technology to users. And the third is the individuals, that whatever is happening in the system, how soon are the individuals and institutions able to make the best of what is being available in the market. The second point with physical infrastructure is, I would say, once you have your physical infrastructure in place, and you will also have to have a policy in place to upgrade. And when you talk of upgrade, and because we talked of the sync between nature and human beings, we'll also have to talk of a way of disposal of e-waste, because every time you're upgrading, what do you do with your old phone, right? So policies on e-waste, both at the government level and at the individual level, which are talking to each other. So G2B, basically, right? Government talking to businesses, businesses talking to consumers, and G2C, those kind of things we will have to bring in place. Then the next important thing is, having spoken of physical infrastructure with access, affordability, and availability, let us come to the second most important point, which is human beings. Human beings are the ones who are ideating new technology, and human beings are the ones who are using. But these two human beings are different sets of human beings, right? One is the set of startups who are throwing this into the market, the business people who will like to upgrade even when it's not required. So the manuals are becoming thicker than the instrument itself. The instrument may weigh about 1 gram, but the manual is going to weigh at least 10 grams. And not everybody has the patience to read a manual. So that's how difficult and complicated technology is becoming. So the usage is becoming difficult. So what is required then? So, what is required is that institutions and individuals are trained in the usage of this technology, right? Every new incremental change or revolutionary change in technology will require upgradation across generations. And across institutions and campuses. So human resource training will become absolutely, absolutely important, because every time there's a slight change in a software, slight change in an algorithm at the back, lot of departments, lot of institutions will have to rework a lot of things. And now with API, with sharing, a bank is a different institution, governments are different institution, individuals are different institutions. So how can all these institutions talk to each other, especially when we talk of financial transactions? And the third most important thing is, after having spoken of both the hardware, the software, and the people, where the underbelly of technology is something that I'll always like to highlight, because now with deep tech happening, right? A deep medicine happening. There's a different world altogether, which is accessible only to hackers. So there is a trifurcation: ideation, startups, innovators on one side, consumers on one side, and the hackers and the cyber people who play with the cyber security. Totally different, three sets of different kind of people. So I think we will also have to look at this kind of people also, and how we will have to develop foolproof systems, both at the level of technologies, where the commercial players in the market, and also the governments, which will have to look at securing their own systems. Because now with the technologies becoming more accessible in the public domain, you will have to have blockchains in place. With blockchains in place, you will have to secure your systems. So you will have to train your people in specialized anticipative technologies of loopholes, and that loopholes only come to light when the technology has done a dry run for some time. And when you put a law into place, then you realize that, oh, this is how people have understood the law, and this is how people are misusing the law. So then you have to quickly review your system and put things in place. So I think now, with so much of technological changes, we'll all be standing on our toes all the time. And as Noah Yuval Harari has written in one of his articles in 2018, much before the COVID struck, in in the Atlantic magazine, he writes about the tyranny of technology. He says technology, on one hand, is actually able to universalize, standardize a whole lot of operations. When Tally came into being, your accounting system became very, straight from paperwork. We moved on to something. Then you had MIS, and today you have, so much that it's even difficult to. So one has to be very, very careful in terms of how we would like this technology to play out. And now with sound happening, there will be no distinction between real and real life. Real as in our real life, and fiction, the life. because today with what is called there's new Israeli technology which has come about, of the deep world, which actually can bring make the people who are dead and gone speak, through technology, right? I have seen a lot of videos where your photographs, your people are actually speaking. So people are using the technology to make their grandparents and great grandparents use the photographs of the parents to speak. With this, what will happen is that there will be a lot of fake news. अभी तो fake news है. Tomorrow you will have fake audios where you will hear some old person speaking something which he probably never said, because there'll be technology which will be used. Then you have holographic technology. It will become very, very difficult to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. And I think that is the virtual world and the real world would absolutely become one. And so that is the danger, and that is where we have to be very, very alert and careful. And one of the ways the governments, people like us working in the government, is provide systems in place where this kind of how much of technology to use, what kind of technology to use, and where to use, why to use technology, what kind of technology to use, how to use it, and where to use it. I think these questions will really, really have to be answered. And this can only be done once we are not awed by technology. Right? Today, we are all getting awed and sloshed by technology. So it is like a state of drunkenness. We are so drunk on technology that we cannot distinguish between what is real and what is fake, where we need to drive what technology. So I think some amount of work will need to be done, and we have really no time. And that, I think, is the most important thing that we will have to keep in mind.
Right, ma'am. As you explained, I think there is a need of somebody to show a right path, to be a balance, to take a balanced approach in technology. So lastly, I would like to ask you that for that, to bring those reforms and using judicially the technology as well. I think a term digital leadership becomes very important here. So I would like to know your idea of digital leadership and how it can bring the reform, and what sort of component do you see in digital leadership?
No, I think that's interesting. Actually, I never thought of something called digital leadership, but now that you tell me, I'm doing a quick impromptu eureka kind of a thinking. But yes, see, what is the role of a leader? The role of a leader is to be able to envision something which everybody else is not able to at that point in time, is to be able to think far ahead of the time, right? Not just about today. Today, what we are doing, fortunately or unfortunately, is we are cut, paste, copying what is available around us, but none of us are able to anticipate how the world will look tomorrow. So I am going to talk about my department, and I'm going to say that, okay, what is it that I think will happen tomorrow in my department, right? Not just tomorrow, but day after tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, and in, say, 10 years time. So for 10 years ahead, I have to look at 10 years ahead and imagine a world like the writers of yore have done, say 50 and 100 years ago. H.G. Wells, when he wrote his several books imagining how the world will be, and so much of it is coming true today that it absolutely looks not scientific fiction, but it looks like some kind of an astrological prediction that he made, that these things will happen in times to come. So our jobs as institutions and individuals is to look at the various developments which are taking place, peep into the research that is happening, and extrapolate from what is happening. See, if you look at Amazon, I'm just giving you an example as a very user. I'm not promoting any brand or anything. I'm just saying that anybody who does e-commerce and goes to Amazon, you are flooded with the electronic gadget sale, and you look at the electronic gadget sale and the kind of gadgets that are becoming available. You look at Eco Dot, you look at um, uh, um, Alexa, Siri, and you will find that so much of revolution is happening in sound technology, right? Just by speaking. And on WhatsApp, you have audio notes. We are using technology without a bother, because today, the moment you put out your audio tape in the market, you say something and you share it, it becomes viral, you are actually giving a voice sample, right?
Yes.
Why do you think biometrics is not available for anybody to look? Because your thumbprint is unique. So, as Trevor says, there is an entire book on this system. As Trevor says, that your sound is also very unique. Just like your handwriting analysis expert can actually distinguish between your handwriting, and if somebody's tried to copy it, howsoever beautifully, the counterfeit in paintings, in handwriting, they can all be detected by experts. Similarly, even your voice can be detected by experts because there are annotations, there are inflections which happen, and nobody's actually bothered and nobody's actually looking at it. We are all bothered about so much of our image, so much of our data has gone on Facebook, on everything. But, we can't do anything because we woke up to Facebook late, right? To everything else late. But what about sound? I am voluntarily, by sending audio notes, enabling a capture of my sound. With the moment I speak to Siri or Alexa, I am giving them my audio note for generations to keep, my carbon footprint, which is not going to get erased at all. Even when I die, that note will be available somewhere in the deep web, right? So we have to look at digital leadership. In my thing is, let us look at our individual lives around us. Today when we talk of minimalism, that minimalism should also include digital minimalism. Can we afford it? How much can we afford it? And wherever we are using digital technologies, what are the safeguards? So awareness has always been something. Communication, science communication, technology communication, and awareness is something that I'm very passionate about, because this is what is going to enable us to use, to make a judicious use of technology in times to come. And this is what we should do. And I think we should propel many people, including startups, to think of how this can be done, to ideate, to brainstorm. So if we can not use technology certain places, we should do by upgrading our own manual systems. So I think this is what how I feel is, please look at developments, and unless you discuss developments, I think talk to researchers. Have a brainstorming session with researchers, read what research is happening in technology. I think please make readings on science and technology fundamental part of your living, because now there is no wishing away with science and technology and research. They will become fundamental parts of you. And I think it will become something that you need to develop as part of your hobby, because otherwise, if you don't know, tomorrow you won't know where thunder and lightning has struck you, and where your banks have been emptied, or where your a fake duplicate version of you, or a cloned version of your voice, or something has happened, and you'll just be grasping, because people who are doing investigation will be equally confused and confounded, because we are all at the same level of technological upgrade. And I think we must heavily invest in human resource development, so that we have pioneers, so that we have people who know, who are deeply specialized. We must enable more PhDs, more hands-on experience, teach, read, talk, discuss, brainstorm. I think this is fundamental to understanding how the future will be in times to come. And I think science and technology, and all people who are working as scientists and innovators and technology, this is the time for you, because the society at large, people at large will be reaching out to you, consulting you. So this is your time under the sun, I think. And this is how I envision not just digital, but technological leadership. This is how it is going to be in times to come.
Wonderfully explained, ma'am. And there, I can go on and on and on, with a lot of questions in my mind, and a lot of questions we are getting from audiences as well. But we are having a foundation of time, so we'll not be able to ask those questions, audience. But I'll share those questions to ma'am. And if we get any answers, we'll share offline with our audiences. But here, ma'am, thank you so much for sharing insights on your view of digital leadership, your view on virtualization, and how do you see IT is integrating with our lives, and how it will be integrating in future as well. And the picture of future is not all rosy as well. As you said, that we have to create balance and we have to be very sustainable. Thank you so much for your thoughts. And ma'am, we would like to present a speaker certificate to you, just as a token of appreciation, respect, and thanks for sparing time. You are very busy today, and you spared time for us. Thank you so much for it. And to the audience, I would like to request you to spare a few minutes and give us your feedback on this session, or your queries on this session, and on the whole event. You have on your virtual platform a feedback icon to the left of the platform. Please click on that and share your feedback. It will help us to do more things, and to, even if there is a need, we can improve. So please share your feedback. And thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us. And here we would like to close the session.
Thank you very much. So, read, think, communicate, and upskill in your life. That should be your mantra in times to come. Thank you very much, Karthik, for this wonderful opportunity. Good luck. All the best to you. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Hello, everybody. I welcome all of you at the Future of Smart Campus Ensuring Desktop Virtualization conference, with Dell Technologies and Windows 10, and organized by Elets Technomedia in association with Digital Learning Magazine. And in this session, we have right now with us a very special guest from Rajasthan, Dr. Vinod Kumar Bhardwaj. He is Nodal Officer for Innovations and Skill Development Programs in College Education Department of Government of Rajasthan. For many years, he is working in this innovations and skilling in the college campuses of campuses of colleges of Rajasthan. Welcome, Dr. Vinod Bhardwaj.
Thank you, Dr. Karthik. Uh,
Uh,
uh, basically, basically, when we see in case of Rajasthan, especially after this Corona means phase in Rajasthan, so there is a urgent need to really transform the classrooms into smart classrooms. Number one, and to make the campuses smart campuses as well. Why? Because the youth which is coming to the colleges, certainly many of them are not capable to bear the cost of the, I mean, the online classes and other expenditures, especially occurring on account of the internet and this, I mean, resources. So if the campuses are turned into these smart campuses, then certainly we can help and we can assure the reach to up to the maximum of the youth which is coming to the colleges or collegiate youth we are talking about. Otherwise, what is happening in the name of the online classes and means, this e-classes and e-lectures, those who are capable, they are having access to these contents, and otherwise the rest people are not getting access to that. So that way we are eliminating automatically more than 50% of the youth which is not getting access to higher education. So turning the classrooms into smart classrooms and turning the campuses into smart campuses is an urgent need in higher education, and especially in context of Rajasthan, MP, and like this states. So I think because we are also planning something like that. So this is really a need of our to get the technology involved, and I mean make it and expand it over a larger area, covering various institutions in the state of Rajasthan.
Dr. Vinod Bhardwaj, in these last 1 year, I have seen you, especially in your team in Rajasthan, using the virtual mode in connecting with the students, in connecting with the faculty. How do you see this virtualization and this virtual mode can help in making these campuses more smarter?
Yes, Karthik, because our state started working on e-contents even in the last week of the March 2020, while this lockdown was imposed, and this was I remember it was 27th March, while we started, and when we issued the order, our commissioner issued the order to all the faculty members in the state to get their e-lectures recorded and get it ready to disseminate among the students. And rather, we started disseminating among the students through WhatsApp and Facebook also. That time we created some WhatsApp groups also, and we created some Facebook groups also, Facebook pages of our department. and that we continued till the throughout of the corona. Now what happened after that? Well, this corona was little bit really means relaxed, or the people there were some conditions were relaxed, not that much hard conditions were continued. Then what happened? We asked our all faculty members to get their lectures recorded when the institutions are opened, and the lectures are means uploaded on YouTube channels of the different colleges. So we made a lot of effort. We made many efforts rather to get this e-content process recorded and disseminated. But yet, though I would like to mention it here that right now we have more than 2,65,000, more than that. Even e-contents uploaded on different YouTube channels of different colleges in Rajasthan. But yet, I'm not sure that whether the students are really getting, I mean, the access on those contents, or they are going through the contents even. Because this was one alternate which we provided to students when they were not coming to colleges, and certainly this was the only way out to these students and help them. So whosoever were capable, they got it. I mean, the access, and those who were not capable, they are still waiting. So what happened in January? Our colleges are open and the students are coming into the colleges. So this is the first time when we are seeing so much of crowd of students in colleges in the month of March and April, which usually was we were not able to see in the even the mid of February. So I would like to say that certainly IT is required very much, but unless the quality of the content and proper IT solutions are there, this half-day solutions of IT, half-day use of IT, means peripherals and this and that cannot help much more. So for that, there is a need to really transform the classrooms and the campuses into the smart campuses and IT with full IT facilities, so that students can really get benefit out of that. Otherwise, this is only half preparation what the we and the other states are doing like this, to getting the contents recorded and just uploading on the social media platforms without having a proper delivery or dissemination methods or mechanism in our campuses.
Dr. Vinod Bhardwaj, you have highlighted these challenges very well, and you have experienced this. So, I have a question to you, that your department is very pro in having public-private partnership, welcoming the industry, to work with government to improve the infrastructure or for the betterment of student and faculty. For many years you are doing this. So do you think that now in this term also, to have a better virtual medium, to have a smarter campuses, do you think an industry role becomes important, and do you would like to welcome the industries to partner with the government and make these campuses smarter?
Definitely, definitely, because without partner, because in my almost all discussions wherever I'm going, and I'm saying that the private-public partnership is must to enhance the quality of education, to develop the campuses, so that we can think about better delivery of education. Otherwise, this is just no. What is happening that colleges are there, facilities are not there, infrastructure is not there. So certainly, with that, this after even especially in the post-corona phase, what is happening that the despite the all resources whatever are available, the delivery part of education is bitterly affected or badly affected by corona. So that way, this is a requirement that if the industries come together with the higher education domain in Rajasthan and elsewhere, then certainly we can help and we can boost up the delivery and the effectiveness of higher education across the country. Second thing is that the government is also planning to initiate some kind of IT expand IT facilities in colleges, so that the better and effective delivery may be assured to the students. And that way, like we are planning to establish or transform our 20 colleges in first phase into smart colleges. And we are planning, yes, this is under planning, and this is soon going to be announced by of the honorable minister or the competent authorities, that in first phase we are going for 20, then next phase we are going to 30, and then next in 50. So altogether we are going to transform our 100 government colleges into smart colleges. And in the smart colleges we are most focusing on the IT and peripherals and IT and infrastructures, because if we are going to strengthen these facilities, then certainly we can think about the better delivery and better of our services of college education. Otherwise, it is all a myth. And second thing is that for that, government is not granting any money. So for that, we are always looking towards the industries who can help us and who can come with us as a partner, so that we altogether can really change the faces of college education in Rajasthan.
Lastly, I would like to ask you, great to know that the government of Rajasthan is trying to make the campuses smarter and taking some campuses to start with. I would like to ask you finally that do you see faculty and students, how will you align them with this smart campuses? Will you see any challenges, or what is your
Yes,
plan?
Karthik, but this is because this is secret which we don't want to share on the platform, because a government has prepared a plan. Rather, our department has a plan, and this was the task which was given to me, and I have submitted the plan to the government. But we have the means the entire plan is there. How we are going to address the faculty and how we are going to address the students and student-centric facilities, even cyber cafe facility we are going to start in the government colleges. We are going to start the these computer centers in the colleges, so those who are poor and don't have the computers and everything at their home, they can come in the colleges, they can access the sites and everything, whatever content they want, and they can get it stored in their pen drive and go back. So all these facilities altogether with the smart and hi-fi facilities we are planning in our colleges. And certainly we have all corners to cover, including faculty, including the staff. Rather, we have planned to train our staff also, training for staff also. This one, and we then the first thing is that if we just leave this program up to only government college, then certainly we can fail at the moment. But the monitoring of the entire project will be done at the commissioner level and at the government level. So certainly there is no gap to escape by the colleges. So they have to do it. That's why we have selected a smaller number in the first phase, only 20 colleges, mostly standing at the divisional headquarter level. They are the bigger colleges like Government Junior College, Bikaner, where I'm right now sitting. That is a capacity of 11,000 students right now studying in the college. So we are going to transform this type of colleges. They will help a greater way to our youth. And second phase more 30, and then third phase more 50. So at a total, we are just planning to cover only 100 colleges out of 338 in the state of Rajasthan. But certainly many things I cannot share right now.
I know, and I understand, Dr. Vinod Bhardwaj, and but it is great to know that Rajasthan is looking forward to make its future of its college campuses
But
smarter.
Karthik,
And
I would like to say one thing. Really, like I always acknowledge Elets, because through you only we got many partners in 2017, 2018, and 2019. And again, we are looking forward through Elets that if some partners who are really interested to get associated with us in the domain of college education in with the government of Rajasthan, and can help us to make better, especially in the field of making transforming the colleges into smart colleges. Really, we welcome, and we look forward through ELETs also to again cooperate us in the same way.
it is our pleasure, sir. It's our honor to contribute our bit in developing education ecosystem in Rajasthan. We'll keep doing that, sir. And thank you for all support of your team, you and your team, for encouraging us to connecting with the industry. That is really great, and all the audience, various industry leaders are watching this program. I request all of them to you make a connect with Rajasthan government and work in improving the ecosystem of Rajasthan higher education system. And here, I thank you, Dr. Vinod Bhardwaj. Thank you so much for sparing time, and we would like to present a speaker certificate to you, Dr. Bhardwaj,
Thank you.
for sparing time. I know you are traveling today and you are very busy, but you spare time for us. And Dr. Vinod Bhardwaj, nodal head of skill and innovations programs in Government of Rajasthan College Education Department. Thank you very much for
Thank you.
joining us, and it was a
Thank you.
pleasure talking to you. Thank you, sir. Hello, all. So, you experienced two back-to-back sessions with the government leaders. We had a wonderful interaction with Mugdha Sinha, Secretary of Science and Technology and Art and Culture in Rajasthan government, and the nodal in charge of skill programs and innovations in college education ecosystem of Rajasthan, Dr. Vinod Bhardwaj. And before that, we had good panel discussions with university leaders. We had a great workshop and keynote addresses and inaugural welcome address by Dr. Ravi Gupta in the morning, founder and CEO of Elets Technomedia. So it was really a good discussion on virtual platform around the future of smart campuses, ensuring desktop virtualization, for preparing this whole conference and getting the leaders, the thinkers, the thought leaders on this virtual platform. I would like to thank the team of Elets Technomedia and the team of Digital Learning Magazine, and for their great support. I would like to thank Dell Technologies, Microsoft, Windows 10. I would like to thank VMware and all the eminent speakers who participated in this forum around desktop virtualization and the future of smart campus. I would like to thank the patient audience and the audience for wonderfully watching the program and asking questions, different queries. We got a lot of questions, a lot of queries, and a great participation from various stratas of society as the audience. Thank you so much. And here I would like to announce the closure of this event. Since morning, which had wonderful discussions. I would again request the audience to please spare a few minutes before you log out, spare a few minutes in giving the feedback. We have in the platform, in the left, you will see the feedback icon. Please click on that icon. You will not, it will not be a very difficult, it will not be a very huge form. It will be, if you spare a few minutes, we will get your inputs, and we will, maybe in future, we will improve with those inputs. Or if you like something, please write whatever you liked, so that we would put more focus on the things which you liked. So any pros, cons, any positive, negative, share everything which comes in your mind, but please give a feedback. And here I thank all of you. I thank the whole team who worked for this event, and thank the audience, thank the speakers, thank the partners. And here we close this event, A Future of Smart Campus, Ensuring Desktop Virtualization. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the future. You're gonna wanna get ready. You're gonna wanna get ready. You're gonna wanna get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Welcome to the future. Welcome to the future. Welcome to the future. Here we are making history, higher than we've ever been. You're gonna wanna get ready, get ready, get ready. Welcome to the future.
Transition your business to virtual workspaces to enable a more productive experience for your cloud users with Wise Thin Clients from Dell. With Wise Thin Clients, you can improve security and alleviate the day-to-day management tasks of your IT administrators. Our portfolio provides multiple form factor options, as well as smarter, faster end-user experiences with instant-on access to traditional VDI, cloud-hosted virtual desktops or apps, and cloud services. With Wise Management Suite, the industry's first hybrid cloud management solution, with floating license allocation between on-premises and cloud, you can scale from 1 to hundreds of thousands of thin clients as your business expands. Protect your organization with Dell exclusive Wise Thin OS, the most secure thin client operating system, or experience secure access from Wise Thin Linux and Windows 10 IoT Enterprise with Dell added security features. See the big benefits of Wise Thin Clients at DellEMC.com/wise.